We're facing an unprecedented crisis due to COVID-19. I do not think that anyone has trouble understanding the connection between nutritious food and quality education. Yet too many school children around the world still lack both, especially now. In this segment, we will hear from some of the world's leading experts and advocates for improving education systems and the role school meals programs can play. To begin with, and for a global context, we will hear from Liesbet and Dr. Tariq Al-Gorq.
If we are to be the first generation in history to end extreme poverty and equip every child and young person with the education and skills they need, we must deliver on one of the most important safety nets for children: healthy meals every day in school. The evidence speaks for itself. Effective school health and nutrition programs are essential to the health of our children. Healthy children do not only participate more in school, but they also learn more. In low and middle income countries, every dollar invested in school feeding yields $9 back in social returns as healthy and educated children become more productive adults. In January 2020, before the pandemic hit, school health and nutrition programs had created the most extensive safety net in the world. 1 in 2 of the world's children received a meal at school, and the number of children fed in Africa had grown by over 70% in the past decade. These were nearly all nationally owned programs with more than 90% of the costs paid for by countries themselves. But by April 2020, this decade of growth was brought to a dramatic halt by the closure of the world's schools due to COVID-19. More than 1.5 billion children were immediately separated from education. Some 370 million of them were suddenly deprived of their only reliable meal of the day. This has been the worst shock to education systems and vulnerable children in history. As countries build back their education systems, it must include health and nutrition support. The Global Education Commission and the Global Education Forum, a platform of all bilateral and multilateral donors in education, are strongly committed to play a leadership role in the financing work of the School Meals Coalition. We support the coalition's 2 bold objectives: to restore access to school meals for 370 million children by 2022, and to provide new support for 73 million additional children who are the most vulnerable. To make this happen, we must mobilize the necessary finance. The Global Education Commission and the Global Education Forum are supporting the coalition to establish a financing task force. The financing task force will rethink the funding mechanisms that can help countries expand, accelerate, and broaden their school health and nutrition programs. There is an estimated $5.7 billion gap in the financing for school health and nutrition programs in low-income countries alone. This finance cannot be mobilized in conventional ways. We must enhance the effectiveness of the existing investments, find innovative solutions by involving other partners, and put in place transitional mechanisms to help countries become self-reliant. Together with the Commission's Chair and UN Special Envoy for Global Education, Gordon Brown, I want to applaud all the efforts in school health and nutrition to advance the dream we share that instead of developing only some of the potential in some children in some countries, we nurture and feed the potential of all children in all countries. Thank you.
A holistic approach to education is one of the most critical enablers of children's long-term development. And guided by this belief, we have placed the highest importance on school health and nutrition as one of the foundational pillars to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 4. School health and nutrition is in fact very close to my heart, and over the last 10 years Dubai Cares has invested heavily in a variety of programs focused on this aspect, including school feeding. We signed the declaration of support for the School Meals Coalition and worked with the World Food Program on a $4 million grant focused on building the technical and human capacity of the African Union School Feeding Cluster. We look forward to your support and participation.
Join us, sign the declaration, make your commitment known, and help the School Meals Coalition ensure that every child has a healthy, nutritious meal every day. Thank you for joining us today.